I built an iOS app using Claude with zero prior coding experience, and I want to talk about that. So you'll see me looking down. My notes are right below here. I want to do this. Just record it, put it out there. Let me know what y'all think. So if you see me looking down, that is what I'm looking at. So what have I built? I've built a minimalist run tracking app that encourages physical paper journaling. A lot of running apps today are focused heavily on the social media aspect, posting pictures, sharing your runs, getting kudos, if you know which app I'm talking about. And that's all good. However, there's a heavy focus on that social media aspect, which I think can lend itself to being a time waster or a place where our attention is focused, where maybe it shouldn't be. So I wanted to fix that. I wanted to make a minimalist run tracking app that saves your runs for a short time, encourages you to write them down in a paper journal and track your runs that way and enjoy the experience of running for the experience of running only. So what I want to cover in this video is what have I built, which we basically already have done, how I built it, what I built it with, some of the roadblocks I encountered, and where I'm going with it. This video is not necessarily about the app itself, but really about how I built it and exploring this idea of what is the upper limits of what I am doing and how can I pass that. So the idea, again, was this run tracking app, and I wanted to build it, and I started doing a lot of research and discovered shortly that I was probably going to have to build it myself. There's a lot of AI tools out there, so that was the place I'd logically started. Started with ChatGPT. I've been using ChatGPT since it came out, so I did a lot of brainstorming and discovered the computer I have, a 2021 iMac M1, was going to be just fine for the project. And obviously I have an iPhone, like a lot of us do, so I had a lot of the initial tools to start building this app. So I did a lot of the brainstorming with ChatGPT, which is great. And what I ran into mainly, and this is probably a fault of my prompting, or could have been a fault of my prompting, is that I was asking ChatGPT to build the app. Build the app for me. And it did. It gave me all of the coding for a very minimally, barely functioning run tracking app. There were a lot of things it missed, apparently, that I learned later. So it built the app. No file structure, no function structure, pretty much whatsoever. It was very buggy and it was horrible, and I got frustrated with it, which is partially why I gave up on the project initially. Fast forward to today, I started using Claude for some work stuff, had it run some market reports for me, and I discovered that it was asking me actually very thoughtful questions before responding to the prompt or the task that I gave it, which was neat. Popped up a little dialogue window and gave me multiple choice questions to kind of narrow down what it was that I was actually looking for. After I noticed this, I was like, this may be a really good tool to actually build this app. So a couple weeks went by, finally sat down with Claude with kind of a new mindset around it. And rather than asking it to build the app, I asked it to help me build the app, which was probably a really good way of going about it, because rather than it just giving me everything I was asking for, it said, we're going to start with step 1, step 2, step 3. It went down the list, and that's what I want to show you right now. So this is essentially the setup as I built it. Again, zero prior coding experience. So in the Xcode screen, that's where I'm building the iOS app. Pretty sure it's the only place you can build iOS apps. Maybe there's other things. I don't know. So again, I'm very, very new to this. This is like 3 days old that I've actually been working on this and actually have a functioning app. What you see here on the right or left side of my screen, the Xcode screen, the one with all the coding in it, not this one over here. All of this is probably about 7 hours worth of work. So I'm going to click through here a little bit. So let's see, come on, there we go. So all of this whole file structure, settings view, run store, log view, location manager, all of this is probably about 7 hours worth of work. again, zero prior coding experience is what got me this result. Now, I do have the app on my phone. I have my phone set up as a developer device, and I have the app deployed on my phone currently. So again, not necessarily about the running app. This is just simply what I am using to test the limits of what you can do with AI in building an app. So I'm going to show you this right here. So I have just kind of an example run. I'm going to switch back to webcam here in just a second. Okay, so I have a little example run here, but I also have previous runs saved within the app. It'll save the runs for up to 7 days, but after 7 days, they go away. So that is where you're encouraged to write them down in a physical journal. There's a couple benefits to this structure. There's no accounts. There's no login. There's no tracking as far as other companies. There's no selling information. It just lives on your phone. There's no account. So there's a few things to think about when you're using this app. Say you're switching to a new phone. Make sure you have your runs written down prior to switching to that other phone, because after you clear this phone, they're gone. It's not going to transfer with an account, right? And that's intentional. There's other things that I don't want it just to be a run tracking app. I want there to be other features in there, but still very, very focused on the idea of physically journaling your runs. So after about 7 hours worth of work, again, that you see here, I have a functioning app and I've used it multiple times. I have this activity right here, and I'm kind of using this to track some of my development within the app. So I'm comparing it to my Apple Watch, where I also track my activities just to make sure it is actually accurate and functioning properly, and I'm detecting all the bugs before I send it out on test flight. So yeah, basically at this point, and hopefully that's a decent summary of where I'm at, where I'm going. But basically at this point, I am testing the app myself. I'm going to continue building and developing it myself before I send it out on test flight for beta testing. But at this point, there's just some tweaks that I need to do to get it to the point it needs to be before other people start using it. I'm going to look through my notes here real quick. So again, this isn't a comparison between ChatGPT and Claude. Claude just happened to be the AI I landed on at this time to build the app. However, it did a fantastic job. So no involvement between ChatGPT and Claude in this video. All I wanted to share is what you can do with these new AI tools, how far you can take it. I mean, absolutely zero prior coding experience. It went through the entire file structure with me, and I'm kind of scrolling through as I'm talking here. But it built the entire file structure with me, showed me how to do it. Not really showed me, told me to do it, and I did it. And at this point, I have a fully functioning app. There's a few little bugs as far as UI. The user interface needs to be adjusted a little bit, but I can work on that. And so I'm using this essentially as a way of proof of concept. What can you build using AI with zero prior experience? And this is absolutely an example. And let's see here. There was one thing I wanted to end on here. So I'm sorry for... There we go. So this is what I want to end on, because I feel like this kind of sums it up really well, is that at this point, is my imagination the limit? Or at some point am I going to reach a knowledge barrier, because with the zero prior coding experiences, am I going to reach a knowledge barrier that inhibits me from proceeding? Or will I mess around with this so much and learn quickly enough that we're back to the only limitation being my imagination, because now I have enough knowledge? I don't know that. We're 7 hours into this project, all in, and I have a lot more to go. But let me know what you think. Drop a comment, drop a like, and make sure to subscribe if this is interesting to you. Maybe you're an experienced coder. If you're an experienced coder, software developer, please look at my file structure. Please look at this coding. If there's anything that jumps out to you, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I would love some feedback, because I don't know. All I know is this works. I have a basic understanding of what's happening, but beyond that, I don't know. And I would love to hear from people who have more experience than I do in this area. And make sure to subscribe if this is something you're interested in. So have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.